China's economic coercion is a form of foreign policy that uses economic measures, such as trade restrictions, tourism bans, boycotts, or sanctions, to pressure or punish other countries for actions that Beijing deems undesirable. China has used economic coercion against countries that undermine its territorial claims, such as Japan and the Philippines in the East and South China Seas, or that challenge its political interests, such as Australia and Canada over human rights issues. China's economic coercion can have significant impacts on the targeted countries' economies, especially if they rely heavily on trade or investment with China. For example, China's trade sanctions on Australian exports of coal, wine, barley, and other products have cost Australia billions of dollars in lost revenue. China's economic coercion can also affect the global economy and supply chains, as well as the rules and norms of international trade and cooperation. For example, China's restrictions on rare earth exports to Japan in 2010 disrupted the global market for these essential materials used in high-tech industries. China's economic coercion can also undermine the credibility and effectiveness of multilateral institutions, such as the World Trade Organization, WTO, that are supposed to regulate and resolve trade disputes. China often uses informal or extralegal measures to implement its economic coercion, making it difficult for the targeted countries to seek redress or recourse through existing mechanisms. One of the most pressing issues that the G7 leaders discussed at their summit in Cornwall was how to confront China's economic coercion and its lack of transparency on the origins of COVID-19. In this video, we will explore how the G7 leaders agreed to coordinate their response to China's economic practices and to support a new investigation into the origins of COVID-19. China's economic practices have been a source of concern for many countries, especially its use of subsidies, state-owned enterprises, and forced technology transfers to gain an unfair advantage in global markets. China has also been accused of using economic pressure and sanctions to punish countries that criticize its human rights abuses in Xinjiang and Hong Kong, or that challenge its territorial claims in the South China Sea and Taiwan Strait. The G7 leaders recognized the need to counter China's economic coercion and to promote a level playing field for trade and investment. They endorsed a new initiative called Build Back Better World, or B3W, which aims to provide high-quality infrastructure financing for developing countries, especially in areas such as climate, health, digital technology, and gender equality. The B3W initiative is seen as a democratic alternative to China's Belt and Road Initiative, which has been criticized for creating debt traps, environmental damage, and corruption. The G7 leaders also called for a new study into the origins of COVID-19, which has killed more than 3.8 million people worldwide.